stalling for time until we begin. Get yourself ready. In case you can't tell, it's going to be a wild ride. We're going to have some fun today. Everybody for coming early and on time. That was pretty awesome. I always like to start with a little bit of fun. You know, this turtle is nuts. I found this on the internet. I found a few things on the internet I'm going to share with you while we're waiting for people to arrive, because some people aren't as punctual as all of you. Some people can't find the square root unless they are lucky enough to find a tree like this. It was grown in a box and somebody took the fence down. I think that's what happened. These escalators are temporarily stairs, which I guess they all are at some point. We're going to get started in just a minute. I'm just going to regale you with some jokes I found on the internet. This Lego has a back that hurts when he gets up in the morning. So his doctor says, get up in the afternoon. Here's your bill. I mean, I guess this joke is a lot funnier to my American friends, where we do get bills like that for advice like this. You know, and the Americans have a hard time with temperature. You know, Fahrenheit, I'm used to 0 to 100, meaning really cold outside to really hot outside. And here in New Zealand, you use Celsius, where 0 to 100 is fairly cold outside to dead, which is better than Kelvin, which is 0 to 100 is dead to dead. You know, that's not a useful temperature scale. Sometimes medical advice isn't useful. Like when they say, great, look, we flattened the curve, and we flattened it the wrong way. I mean, you're not wrong. The curve did get flattened. Just like you're not wrong when you say every cigarette you smoke takes 7 minutes off of your student loan debt. I went to a doctor and he said, hey, use a bicycle and cut the carbs. And so I found an unorthodox way to do that, but it's still not working and I can't figure out why. So I'm starting with these funny jokes just to stall while people are arriving. Those of you who are here, welcome. My name's Kaylin. We're going to get started in just a moment. But first, I want to know how you're doing on the scale of cat. Find the chat box here in Zoom and type one of these numbers. Which cat do you most closely resemble today? Are you a number 3? Because of all these internet jokes coming at you? Are you number 8? Because it's not that funny? Type a number in the chat box. And let me know which one matches how you feel. And some people turn your cameras on. If you want to hang out with me, feel free to turn your camera on. And let me know which cat you are. I'm typing in a number 2. That's how I feel today. Got some 3s, got some 9s. Now, you might not be a cat person. If you're a dog person, then let me know on the scale of dog. Which dog do you most closely resemble today? Type a number in the chat box and let me know which dog matches how you feel today. All right. Okay. All right, well, I guess we can go ahead and get ourselves started. We're now a few minutes past the hour. Webinars in New Zealand are different. You know, I do a lot of webinars for international audiences. I live in Oamaru on the South Island of New Zealand. It's where I am right now. But my American friends are much more interactive, and my New Zealand friends are very reserved, like all of you with your cameras off. So I acknowledge that you're here. Thank you for spending this time with me today, but it's going to be weird for me because you're not here. So I'm going to pretend I'm just giving this to the replay, because there are lots of people who are hopefully watching this on the replay. We had a bunch of registrations come in for today's presentation. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask you an important question. What's the hardest thing about marketing? Type an answer in the chat box for me. Those of you who are watching this live, you can answer this in the chat box. What is the hardest thing about marketing? If you don't know, or if you don't have an answer, type in where you are right now. I'm typing in where I am. I'm in Oamaru. Where are you? Tell me where you are, and maybe tell me your biggest challenge with marketing, if you feel up for it. Great. I don't think we've had enough fun yet. We've not had enough fun. So I'm going to launch a poll. And I want to know, how many birthdays are there? Are there 365 total birthdays? Or are there 7 billion total birthdays? Pick one of these answers. You should see the poll up in front of you. We will get started in a moment. I do promise, but I want to make sure that we're having some fun yet first. How many birthdays are there total? If you had to catalog all of the birthdays, how many would there be? Great. All right, we've got some good answers there. Lots of people said 365, which I'm surprised nobody said 366. I mean, did nobody see the Pirates of Penzance? February 29th is a birthday. So thanks for having some fun with me. Now we are going to get started. I appreciate you hanging out with me while I'm being odd. My name is Kaylin Huntress. If you've never seen me online before, I run a digital marketing agency called Stellar Platforms, where I help experts and entrepreneurs set up smart marketing systems. And I wrote the book on marketing yourself, how to elevate your personal platform to the next level. I published this 2 years ago, and I just finished recording the audiobook this week. So it's better late than never, you know. So I also like having fun with a lot of these video tricks. So you might see me doing some fun tricks during the presentation today, and which means I might have a couple extra technical difficulties. And if so, you know, forgive me. But what do you say? Let's have some fun. And I'm teaching this workshop at Tech Week 24 because this is the 5th year in a row that I have taught a workshop at Tech Week. I'm a big fan of Tech Week. I think there's a lot of fun things happening in this community and in this space. And so my contribution to this is to share with you the things that I've learned about marketing. Now, I want to welcome everybody from across the globe who has, or across New Zealand, who has come here to spend some time on this workshop. Now, I am Kaylin Huntress. It's hard to pronounce, so I'm going to say it a couple times in the beginning so that you can remember it. It's Kaylin Huntress, and I'm an American immigrant to New Zealand, which means I'm descended from generations of immigrants who've left their homelands to seek better fortunes across the sea. And I'm broadcasting to you from Oamaru on the South Island of New Zealand. And I'd like to acknowledge the hereditary keepers of this land, Aotearoa, Te Waipunamu, and also to acknowledge our digital ancestors who built this virtual landscape, this metaverse that allows us to congregate across time and space. So thank you to those who came before us, and may we do good works together here today. So one of the reasons I wanted to give this workshop today is because marketing is complicated. Marketing can often feel like you're playing the slot machines, right? You throw in a bunch of money and you hope you get some results. And sometimes you do, and it's like the jackpot, and sometimes you don't, and you leave in a grump. But this framing of marketing that it's random and you can't control the outcome is an inaccurate view of marketing. It's much more like the screw of Archimedes, which is this ancient invention that allows you to move water uphill. This screw turns and it can actually move water uphill. And Archimedes, the great ancient Greek inventor, invented this. And people said, you'll never be able to move water uphill. And he invented something where this weird, complicated process could do the impossible. And that's what marketing can do for us. your marketing can actually make things move in a way that you didn't think was possible. And that's what I want to share with you today is a way that you can get your marketing to work for you with less time taken. Because the best marketing takes the least amount of time and gets you the most amount of results. The worst marketing takes the most amount of time and gives you the least amount of results. And through what I want to share with you today with marketing automation, I'm hoping we can get more of the results by taking less of the time. So let's go over a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to share with you the 4-step customer cycle that all leads go through. The purpose of marketing is to move people through this 4-step cycle. We're going to talk about the difference between authenticity and automation and when you should prioritize one or the other. I'll share with you some AI tools and techniques for automating your marketing. And then we'll look at different ways that you can architect your marketing stack, because there's 2 main ways to do it. And which path you choose is not really a matter of results, it's more a matter of style. And I'll share with you the differences between those 2 options so that you can make a decision on which is best for you. We're going to go till the top of the hour today. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you a marketing automation checklist. And this is a PDF that I've created that you don't have to sign up for it just for being here. I'm going to give you a link to the PDF. But if you do want to sign up for my list, a lot of you did just by registering to be here. So you're eligible for a lot of fun resources that I'm going to be sharing with you. Now, marketing is like a magnet. A magnet attracts effortlessly, but it doesn't start that way. To make a magnet, you have to take a hunk of iron and you have to bend it and then run a whole mess of electricity through it. And after all of that difficult work, a magnet attracts automatically. But it needs a lot of attention first. And your marketing is like this. I mean, I know you've got things that you want to do with your business and with your work. And so you need money and you need leads to do them. And you can take the time to learn this the hard way, or you can take shortcuts. Other people have made magnets before. You don't have to start from scratch. And so what I'm going to share with you today are the things that I've learned in running my digital marketing agency and creating platforms that attract customers automatically. And we do this through the 6 currencies of exchange. Attention is the currency that we focus on the most in marketing. And I'm going to show you ways that you can automate the attraction and direction of attention. But the purpose of having attention is to convert it into another currency. Any attention that you attract with your marketing, you want to convert that attention into happiness, because boy, I've got a lot of subscribers on my newsletter list. Or you want to turn it into time that you don't have to spend prospecting. Or you want to turn it into money because customers are coming to you. There's some other currency that we want out of attention. And the purpose of marketing automation is to combine your experiments, your messaging, and your lead generation. That's what we're making easy today. We're identifying what's the evergreen messaging you can go to market with, how do you generate leads, and what are the experiments you need to run. Smart marketing is like a cup of coffee. Do we have any coffee fans here? Let me know if you're a coffee fan. Like, how much do you like coffee? Go ahead and rate 1 to 10 in this poll. 0 means you never drink it, and 10 means you can't live without it. How important is coffee to you? Now, coffee doesn't start like this wonderful aroma that we get in our cup. Coffee starts as a red, hard bean, and it's not remotely edible at all. Humans can't ingest it. Caffeine was originally developed as a poison to keep insects off of the coffee plant. Thankfully, this poison isn't lethal to monkeys 10,000 times the size of an insect. And so we ran an experiment, and somebody burnt these red beans just a little bit, not a lot, just roasted it, and then ground it into a powder, and then put boiling water through this powder to create this brew. And coffee, what ends up in your cup is nothing like what it started with, but it's flavored by what you've done. And that's what your marketing experiments do. What happens in your experiment might not end up in your final result, but it flavors it. And so I want you to think of your marketing automation through the lens of a scientist. Your experiments will help you find the evergreen calls to action that you can use to attract people to you. And you find these experiments through quarterly launches. Every 3 months, launch a marketing campaign. Try something new. See what works. The effectiveness of your lead generation is going to let you know what's attractive to your audience. So now let's talk about the 4-step marketing cycle. Every customer goes through this cycle. They first have to know you before they're going to like you. They have to like you before they're going to trust you. And they have to trust you before they will buy from you. If you try and skip any of these steps, you won't make it to the end. So when we're going to automate your marketing, we want to make sure that we cover all 4 of these steps in the customer cycle. This progression from stranger to customer. Every one of these stages is a transition point. Somebody goes from being a stranger to being a browser of your content, and they know you because of that. When they follow you, it's because they like you. When they subscribe to your email newsletter, that's an act of trust. And when they buy from you, they become a customer. This is the framework to your map. Your customer journey, start to finish, stranger to customer, has a map. And your customers might be wading their way through this without your assistance, or you could hand them a nicely designed map when they start out on their journey to let them know what to do next. If you can clearly state every step along the path of your marketing, you can automate it, but you have to know that map first. Once you know it, you can start measuring the stages of it. There's metrics we can measure to assess the effectiveness of your marketing. And measuring these is really important because, as Jim Rohn said, what gets measured gets managed. If you're not measuring your marketing, you can't manage your marketing. Measuring it gives you clarity over all the different stages of your marketing funnel. There's certain messaging you use at the top of your funnel for strangers who don't know you, and that's different than the messaging at the bottom of your funnel for people who already know, like, and trust you. One of the ways we differentiate between these is a painkiller and a vitamin. Up at the top of your funnel, you offer a painkiller. Oh, you're having this problem. Well, I can solve that problem for you. But once they go through your marketing funnel and they've been educated about the different ways they can do business with you and the deeper problems they're actually facing, that's when you can sell the vitamin. But it's really hard to sell a vitamin to a stranger. If what you're offering is one of those good to haves, like, yes, I know I should do this, but I really don't want to, find a different, smaller offer for a painkiller. And you can attract leads who are facing a specific problem. One of the best ways to nurture people through a marketing funnel is email automation. And this is something I do a lot of work with Stellar Platforms, is setting up email automation systems. because this is, in my view, the best way on the internet to nurture a relationship with a customer. And it also helps with regular exposure. According to LinkedIn, 11.4 pieces of content on average need to be consumed before making a purchase. You can automate a lot of these touches through email automation. You don't have to make 11 or 12 calls on the phone, taking 5 minutes out of your day every time. You can have your systems do it for you. And I'll give you an example. Claire Pelletreau said that when she finally bit the bullet, upgraded to a paid plan with MailChimp, and sent subscribers a series of emails to her top blog posts, her story, and links to the services and course pages, she started getting a lot more clients and customers. And this is the way she automated her marketing. She used an evergreen funnel. And if you want these slides, I'll give you a way to get these slides at the end of the presentation. Her first email was a delivery of the PDF that people had subscribed for. This was a lead magnet, is what we call these top of funnel assets that people say, I'm going to subscribe to your newsletter and get that. I'm sure you've done that plenty of times before. She delivers the PDF and then lets them know about a tripwire, a low priced offer that's only available for a limited time. And then she sent 3 emails building know, like, and trust. That's this KLT email. She's building know, like, and trust. She's not selling anything. She's just building her reputation, providing value, being generous. Then she sends, for her 5th email, a pitch for the tripwire and the countdown timer, and sends 3 more emails just building know, like, and trust. It's not until email 9 that she starts to sell. That 9th email has given her audience time to get to know her, to like her, and to trust her. There was a study done on website conversion, and they found that only 15% of website inquiries convert right away. However, 80% of all website inquiries convert within 18 months. This leaves a difference of 35% of your website inquiries are going to do business with you eventually. If you have an automated process to bring people through this 4-step customer cycle, you don't have to keep knocking on the door to see if it's the right time. You can let your systems do that for you. When you're building know, like, and trust, I like to do this via who, what, and how. Share your expertise, what your offers are, clear calls to action. Again, I'll give you the slides later so that you can dive deep on this. But I want to let you know that building an automation funnel doesn't mean you have a lot of work to do from scratch. You can use content you already have. Your highest performing emails that you sent out in the past, the best blog posts you've ever written, your most viewed videos, the social media posts that went viral, that one post you did that got a couple thousand views, you can highlight that in an email automation. Because these new subscribers are going to be very interested in it, and they didn't get a chance to see it last time. Now, when we're talking about emails, there's 2 kinds that I want to differentiate. There's broadcasts and automations. A lot of people think of email marketing as the broadcast. It's the newsletter that goes out. You send it one time and it's time sensitive. The email that you got saying, hey, you're registered for this webinar at Tech Week, that's a time sensitive email. It's scheduled for a specific point in time. It's good for promotions or announcements. But email automation is different. The automated emails are sent regularly, usually a period of time after subscription, 1 day after, 5 days after, 1 month after, 1 year after. You can schedule these emails in advance post-subscription. They're evergreen. You don't have to revise them. You set it and forget it. But you should review these every quarter to see what's effective and what's a waste of time so that you can iterate on these emails and improve them. And I want you to know the difference between these two because authenticity and automation are two very different ways to look at communicating with someone. You can damage a relationship with too much automation. You know, when people know they're communicating with a bot, they don't feel any real need to communicate with you. And so having a relationship with someone, this is what a customer relationship is, really. You know, like they have to get a relationship with you, and relationships require time. So if you're doing outreach to people and you're looking to bring people in with your marketing, I recommend using the rule of thumb. It takes 4 generous contacts before making a commercial request. Sometimes I'll reach out to someone and I'll make an impression by following them, and then I'll subscribe to their page, and then I'll comment on something they've written on social media, and then I'll share one of their posts. By that time, when I make a commercial request, they know me, they like me, and they trust me. So I want you to think of ways that you can have authentic communication even when you're automating. And this is even more important in the world of ChatGPT, because ChatGPT encourages us to be more automated than we ever have in the past, to create content that a robot made for us, and to share as much as possible. This is diluting the discourse, and it's making authenticity more valuable. Email newsletters used to be kind of rare, wonderful things, but now you can create so much content so fast and in such volume, it's no longer that valuable. OpenAI had the fastest user growth in history. They went to 1 million users faster than Netflix, which took 3.5 years, faster than Twitter, which took 2 years. Facebook took 10 months. Instagram took 2.5 months to get to 1 million users, and OpenAI's ChatGPT did it in 5 days. So these tools are prevalent, and there's different perspectives. Some people think, oh no, AI can do my job, while others think, great, AI can do my job. When the tractor was invented, farmers didn't go out of work. They just had different tools. The calculator didn't make mathematicians obsolete. It just extended their possibility. But it also made different limits on what's authentic. I mean, what is authentic? Right? Can we select all the squares with traffic lights? Does this stump you just as much as it does a robot? There's some really interesting challenges happening with ChatGPT, and I need to switch my share real quick so I can share this with you, because I need to make sure that you get the volume. I'm going to play you a little video. Here it is. But before this video, I need to do a quick glossary of terms. These are some of the terms that are used around AI. When you see ChatGPT, what GPT stands for is Generative Pre-trained Transformer. That's the name of the program that selects the most likely next word. And it's been trained on a data set. Most of these are large language models. When you see LLM, that's what it means. It means it's like autocomplete. You know how you're typing something in a text and then the next word is provided as an autocomplete? ChatGPT does that on a massive scale. And it uses NLP, which is natural language processing. And these systems cause a new type of problem we've never faced in technology before. It's called a hallucination. And I'll give you an example of a hallucination, which is a factual error asserted confidently. Listen to this example.
I actually asked OpenAI 35 female, no past medical history, presents with chest pain, which is pleuritic, worse with breathing, and she takes oral contraception pills. What's the most likely diagnosis? And OpenAI comes out with costochondritis, inflammation of the cartilage connecting the ribs to the breastbone. Then it says, and we'll come back to this, typically caused by trauma or overuse, and is exacerbated by the use of oral contraceptive pills. Now, this is impressive. First of all, everyone who read that prompt, 35, no past medical history with chest pain, that's pleuritic, a lot of us are thinking, pulmonary embolism, blood clot, that's what that is going to be. Because on the boards, that's what that would be, right? But in fact, OpenAI is correct. The most likely diagnosis is costochondritis because so many people have costochondritis that the most common thing is that somebody has costochondritis with symptoms that happen to look a little bit like a classic pulmonary embolism. I wanted to go back and I wanted to ask OpenAI, what was that whole thing about costochondritis being made more likely by taking oral contraceptive pills? What's the evidence for that? OpenAI came up with this study in the European Journal of Internal Medicine that was apparently supposedly saying that. And I went in Google and I couldn't find it. I went on PubMed and I couldn't find it. I asked OpenAI, give me a reference for that. And I look up that and it's made up. That's not a real paper. It took a real journal, the European Journal of Internal Medicine. It took the last names, I think, and first names of authors who have published in said journal. And it sort of confabulated out of thin air a study that would apparently support this viewpoint, that it must have picked up. It must have picked up the idea that OCPs, oral contraceptives, show up on the same page as chest pain causes. And so that it sort of started to figure out, oh, maybe costochondritis and oral contraceptives are related, when in fact, that's a red herring. It's really that people who are taking oral contraceptives have a higher risk of a pulmonary embolism, and those travel together on these internet pages, and OpenAI got fooled. But rather than admit that, I asked OpenAI for links, and are you sure you're not wrong? And it stood its ground. So I was blown away by the accuracy of so much of what I did with the platform, OpenAI, but I was also scared that it was willing to lie to me to make up something to support a contention that was not real.
So that's the biggest danger with ChatGPT, is that it makes fast bullshit. So be cautious when you use it because it's not always accurate. I'd like to know, are you using ChatGPT right now? I've got a new poll here for those of you who are here live. Let me know if you're using it right now. Dr. Jason Fox said that AI mirrors our collective mediocrity. So we've got some good usage here. A lot of people have used it frequently enough. Almost half of you are using it once or twice a week. That's great. Great. Now, as this continues, we're going to have the bots talking to each other. This comic has on the left side, AI turns this single bullet point into a long email I can pretend I wrote, while on the right side, AI makes a single bullet point out of this long email I can continue to read. The volume of content is not helpful. So be cautious with the volume, and instead of focusing on quantity, try to focus on quality. Now, speaking of quality, one of the big problems with ChatGPT is that people think it's going to be their one smart assistant, their oracle, that they can get questions answered. But ChatGPT isn't best understood as one smart assistant. It's best understood as infinite dumb assistants. Imagine you have many millions of minions doing your work, and that's really what ChatGPT is good for. You're not trying to write Shakespeare. You have 1,000 monkeys on typewriters who are banging out as much as they can. And as copywriter Brooklyn Nass says, AI gets the job done like instant coffee gets the job done. There's a time and a place for instant coffee, but it shouldn't be when you're making a relationship with someone. You know, ChatGPT has broken the internet for good. I think it's for better, but the way we interact with information has changed. We have to learn things like the CARE framework. This is a way that you can engineer your prompts. You tell ChatGPT a character. Then you give it accomplishments it's done in the past. You make your request, and you give examples of what it should produce. This CARE framework allows you to engineer your prompts. So the fact that we have a term for prompt engineering, it showcases that using AI is the quality of what you get out of it is based on the commands of what you put into it. And this ability to create good questions, good prompts, this is really where you're going to get the most benefit from using AI. Another format that people use is role, task, and format. You're going to act as a marketer who is writing ad copy and provided to me in a rich text article. Get real specific, because the more specific your inputs, the more specific your outputs. But you have to edit, or else you get like this AI review that starts it's an Amazon purchase, a verified purchase. And it says, yes, as an AI language model, I can definitely write a positive product review about the active gear waste trimmer. It's easiest to at least cut that out, but you're going to need more editing to make it sound authentic, or people will just assume you're a robot. I'm a lifelong sender of handwritten thank you notes because I really think that it makes an impact. And my Twitter friend, Pete Laya, got a note in the mail that was pretending to be handwritten. And it made him so angry, he went to Twitter to complain about it. This relationship was broken because someone tried to manufacture authenticity through automation. And this is what we need to be cautious of. Relationships take time. If you automate the time out, you automate the relationship out. If you think of the 80-20 rule, you know, that 80% of your effort gets you 20% of your results. And conversely, 20% of your effort gets you 80% of your results. Think about authenticity as taking 80% of your time to make 20% of your content. And automation takes 20% of your time to make 80% of your content. Some of your content can and should be automated. Like if you want to post once on Instagram and have that syndicate to all the other platforms so that you can just post once and to be everywhere, that's a great choice. Other people prefer to post solo, to say, I'm not going to post on those accounts where I can't give an authentic performance. It gives them the bandwidth to stay authentic where it matters. You find this through experiments. This is the only way that you can find out what works best for you. Only testing will tell. Now, a classic marketing automation, it looks like this. You know, and some people see this and they go, their eyes go blank. It's a deer in headlights. So if that's happening to you, don't worry, it's common. But I see something like this and I think, oh, good, it's time to play. Because I look at something like this and I say, hey, right here at this spot, after somebody has registered for this webinar, they've watched the webinar, they've gone to the sales page, they've purchased the offer, and we send them this welcome email that says, hey, thanks so much for buying this. That's when we should send them to an affiliate registration page so that we can invite them to invite others and we can get organic growth. Automation doesn't have to look like this, though. It doesn't always involve the if this, then that format. It could look like a process. I was working with a Hall of Fame keynote speaker who was having a problem selling his course, his What If Challenge, because he was trying to sell it to people individually. And I said, and he gets standing ovations all the time. He plays acoustic guitar and does stand-up comedy and makes these funny songs and then intersperses that with motivational speaking. There's nobody like this guy. And I said, when are people the most willing to do what you ask them to do? And he said, when I get off stage and I've got a standing ovation, that's the time. Should I sell my course at that time? I said, no, 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 no. When you go backstage and you talk to that contact who hired you, who booked you to speak on this stage, the conference planner, the meeting organizer, you give her a brochure that talks about the What If Challenge. And you sell a team license for everybody in the audience. We're still automating. We're not doing this mechanical, digital automation. We're finding ways to make greater impact with less results. Campaign Monitor did a study, and they found that for every dollar invested in email marketing, on average, it produced a $44 return on investment. But the most interesting thing about this study was that they found 320% more revenue was generated from automated emails as opposed to non-automated emails. It's not the newsletter broadcast that you write every week. It's that evergreen onboarding sequence right after someone subscribes. When they first find out who you are, and you roll out the welcome mat and you say, hey, these are my offers and this is what I can do for you. That's actually where the money is in your list. It's when people first sit down in your audience and they've given you their attention. They're ready to listen to what you have to say. So how do you get people into this audience? You solve a problem. You find some simple problem to solve, and you solve it in a lead magnet. A lead magnet should be something that requires high expertise and low difficulty. It's something that they could do themselves if they had enough knowledge, and you can provide that knowledge. If it's too difficult, but you don't need a lot of expertise to do it, they'll hire somebody cheap. If it's got high difficulty and it requires high expertise, that's your premium service or offer that you want to sell them. But for the lead magnet, this free sample, you want it to be something that they could do by themselves if they had the knowledge that you're willing to share with them. This is one of my lead magnets, the marketing automation checklist that I'm going to give you in about 15 minutes. It's a PDF that has its own landing page. And when I'm in a community of potential customers, I say, hey, do you want this marketing automation checklist? Subscribe to my newsletter and you'll get it. There's 4 sections. It goes over lead generation, your nurture sequence, how to convert, and what your spotlight offer should be. But it's at the top of my marketing funnel. At the bottom of my marketing funnel is a paid course, the Marketing Automation Planner. It's a 4-module course that covers how to make a landing page, what you should write in your welcome email, how to structure your thank you page, and the email series that you should have in your marketing funnel. And this map you can do on your own with the marketing automation checklist. But there's a difficulty in doing the whole thing. So at the top of the funnel, I give the painkiller. You want to know how to plan out your marketing automation? This is how you do it. But when you actually want to do the work, that's the vitamin. I start with the painkiller, and then I sell the vitamin to people who have taken the painkiller. Mechanically, how you automate this, as I said at the beginning, is a matter of style. And this is my style. This is my marketing stack that I use. I have WordPress host my website. I have Gravity Forms host my forums because it integrates with everything. I send my emails through ConvertKit, and I deliver through Experientify, which is a learning management system. Now, I could do all of this with ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign is an all-in-one marketing automation platform. If you use a custom stack, like I do, you have to piece everything together. But if you use an all-in-one platform like Entreport or HubSpot or Infusionsoft, now they're called Keep, all of these services, they have specific advantages and disadvantages. And I'm going to compare the two for you. With a custom stack, you can get a best in class for every piece of your marketing funnel. I use the landing page builder that I prefer. And I have the email sent out in a series that I control in a service that I like. With Infusionsoft, some people call it Confusionsoft, because they're good at some things and not so good at others. You know, Zoho is one of these all-in-ones that is beastly because they could do so many different things, and they've acquired companies that did the pieces they don't have. But that means that they're kind of kludgy. They're shoved together in different ways that don't make a lot of sense. It doesn't take you as much time to get set up with an all-in-one, which is a big advantage. You sign up for their service and you get all of their different services. Whereas if you do a custom stack, you have to piece it together. It's less expensive in a custom stack. The cost is generally $300 to $500 a month, while in an all-in-one, you're looking at, $1,000 to $3,000 a month. So it's more expensive with an all-in-one, but you get better documentation for that. An all-in-one staff has customer support who will make tutorials and walkthroughs and videos on how to do all sorts of things with it. But with a custom stack, there's nobody else doing it but you. It means it's going to be the most suitable to your specific situation, but there's no documentation to rely on. Conversely, with an all-in-one, you've got that documentation, but you don't have the suitability. You just have to deal with their system as it is. But the big advantage, in my view, of all-in-one systems is that they give you superior reporting. They can tell you in one dashboard how this landing page traffic is converting to those sales, and they lay it all out for you. And so if having that sort of visibility over your marketing metrics is important, then an all-in-one might be the way you want to go. If you're more interested in customizing the experience and suiting it to you, a custom stack might be a better way to go. So now we're getting to the end, and so I'm about to give you the marketing automation checklist. But first, I want to let you know about an offer I'm providing to people who are attending this workshop. If you want to make your own map, your marketing automation planner, then there's a coupon code I'm going to give you for $20 off. Now, unfortunately, this is US dollars. I couldn't get my shopping cart converted over to New Zealand dollars in time. So I'm giving a big fat discount. So instead of paying $47 US, you'll pay $27 for the marketing automation planner. And I find this useful because there's 3 different ways that you can go about doing things. If you want to set up your own marketing automation, there's 3 ways you can do it. And I'm going to illustrate these for you right now. At least I think I am. Aha. Sorry, one moment. Technical difficulties. I have this really cool tech that's not loading, but I promise it would be worth it if it'll happen. Aha, here we go. Great. Okay. So there's 3 ways to do your marketing automation. And it depends on how much time you want to invest and how much money you want to invest. What takes the most amount of your time and the least amount of your money is when you do it yourself. Right? You've got to do all of the doing, but you don't have to pay for it. If you have a very limited amount of time and you're willing to pay the money, you can pay somebody to do it for you. And that's the sort of thing that people do when they hire my digital marketing agency, Stellar Platforms, to do things for them. There's this option in the middle to have it done with you, where you're not doing all of the doing, You're getting feedback and advice and perspective from a strategic advisor. And these are the three ways that I offer services in Stellar Platforms. And so now I'm going to give you these links for all of the stuff that I promised you. And then I'm going to share my screen and go through what these are. So if you want a little guided tour, I'm going to guide you through it. So this first link is for the marketing automation checklist. And this is a 7-page PDF, and it goes through the 4 different sections that I described earlier. There's how to generate leads, and it's a step-by-step checklist. Do you have a lead magnet? Check. Do you have a call to action to get people to download it? Do you have a landing page set up for it? This first step is the top of your marketing funnel. And then you need a nurture sequence. After somebody gets to the thank you page, you want to give them an email onboarding sequence that builds know, like, and trust. Step 3 is to convert them from browsers and subscribers into customers, and you do that with your Spotlight offer. And these are the 4 steps in the marketing automation checklist. And so you can go through this checklist, and if you want, you can do it yourself. My marketing automation planner can help with that. This is a 4-module course. And these are all of the different things that you can do. You set up a landing page, you write your welcome email, you can use templates and swipe copy that I provide to you. I give you best practices for thank you pages and copy that you can use with fill-in-the-blank formulas for your email onboarding series. And every one of these modules has an instructional video, and you get a lengthy, in-depth workbook with the Marketing Automation Planner. This has a lot of fill-in-the-blank sections for all of the modules. It asks you questions about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It gives you templates and tools for copy you can write and links you can go to research. Now, if you want to do it yourself, the Marketing Automation Planner is a great way to do it. If you'd like some help with what you're building, you want some feedback and advice, then you can apply for a free coaching call with me. I give free coaching calls to anybody who has a business and a big idea, because statistically, 30% of these calls turn into a client for me. So it's worth it. If you just want to have a conversation and get some free advice, we can do that. It's worth it for me to have these calls because I like learning about other people's businesses, and because it eventually turns into business for me. Now, if you know that what you want is consulting, you want me to actually log in and do the doing and use my digital marketing agency to do your copywriting and design your website and create your automation campaigns, then you can apply for a free marketing consultation. You just fill out this form, you tell me some information about your idea and what you're working on and how your business is growing, and I'll give you some free advice. Now, you can't hire me during these free calls. I do not mention my programs and I do not pitch. This call is all about you and your business. And after this call, if we both decide there's some room for us to work together, then I'll invite you to a second call where we'll talk about the services I offer. And then finally, the last link is for a survey. If you want the slides from today's presentation, I'm happy to give them to you. All I ask is for some feedback on how I did. And so you can fill out this survey anonymously if you like, and give me some feedback, and then I'll share with you the slides. And so that brings us to the end of today's presentation, where I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to open up the chat box, and I want you to write something that starts with one of these 3. I'm going to give you 3 phrases that you can start with. I want you to write either I believe, or I can, or I will. Based on what you've learned today, I want you to write something in the chat box. Something that you believe, that you can do, or that you will do. How's your marketing going to change? Mm-hmm. Agreed, Pablo. Sure can. Yeah. Glad to hear that, Danelle. Excellent. Good, Sarah. Yes, do that. Great. Hopefully some of these resources will help with that. Excellent. Well, I know we're 5 minutes early, but if you'd like to skedaddle, go ahead and take off. I'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody would like to have a conversation. But if you got to take off, then thanks so much for spending this time with me today.